since 2009 with my husband, Dale, who also grew up in Keene, New Hampshire. And we are happy to be here at Wondrous Roots, just doing whatever we can to help out with the health in this community and have a lot of fun doing it. I'm very blessed to be able to do the things I feel I was called to do by God, to do the things that I'm interested in life. We work hard, but it's very rewarding work. We are open here at the Miller Forge building, 103 Roxbury Street, up on the 3rd floor, 9:30 to 5, Monday through Fridays. Our number here is 603-439-2603. And everybody's saying they're so glad they can hear me, and I'm so glad too. And just want to see if I can get where's my chat? I don't see where I can get my chat. Show chat. 5 people in chat. Let's see where the chats are. Just bear with me. I'm trying to locate my chat. And okay, there we go. All right, great. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Thanks to everybody who's telling me, and thanks for telling me you couldn't hear me. You see this lovely little microphone I have. It's got a really cool mute button at the top, and I turned that on before I started the program, and then I didn't turn it. I turned the mute button on, and then I didn't unmute. So anyway, you can reach us 603-439-2603. You can also reach out to me by going to wondrousroots.org or shopwondrousroots.com. and go to the contact us. And if you email me from there, it comes to my private email. It doesn't go to, we're not a big corporation, but even with our small staff, I'm the only one who sees any of that. And I will get back to you about whatever that is you want to talk with me about. So I'm going to go to my newsletter and see if I can. Okay, I can see that. I can see the chat. Yes, I just wanted everybody to know if you want to. Okay, so Dale is raising his hand. Okay, Dale, can
you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
All right.
Taking the camera on.
I think we're okay.
Okay, so very good.
Okay, yeah. So now I just need to go back and find my my newsletter so that I can start talking about it. So yeah, Dale and I started. We were out on our birthday weekend back in the first weekend of May. Well, close to it, like May 5th weekend, and happened to stumble into an herbal shop, and it was really cool, funky herbal shop. And one of the things they had were some really nice medicinal teas. And Dale said, wow, that would be really cool if you were to, do a tea. And I said, well, yeah, I've never done teas. I've done tinctures, as you guys all know. Who've been with me for a while. You can see my basic tinctures here. This one is Arthritis Plus. I have here, anti-inflammatory, MSM eye drops. That's not a tincture. Allergy relief. So I've been doing tinctures a long time, and how you do tinctures is you use a menstruum, they call it, and it is 60% grain alcohol and 40% spring water, and you extract the dried plant material using that process in a process called cold percolation, or you can do a maceration. I won't go into all of that right now. But these are then bottled and they're concentrated. But I haven't done anything with teas. And so I really did want to do that. And so finally have gotten to the point of doing that. And I say here, Dale and I first had the idea back in early May when we wandered into an herbal shop in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Then came the studying and formulating. This is back in May, right? And we're just getting these launched out now. But there's a lot that goes in the meantime. The studying, the formulating. Then came the selecting and purchasing of ingredients. Then came choosing our packaging. Then came designing labels and adding to the online store. Then came the great fun of blending the teas and jarring them, which I'm actually still doing. Today, I've got to finish blending some of them because I was waiting on a couple of herbs I ran out of, making the first 4. And then some that I was waiting to get in. So they're all ready to go. But anyway, so it's really fun. And figuring out how best to blend them. I figured out like a lasagna pan was a better way of doing it than a bowl, because I can get even the small things. You know how when you make a salad, a tossed salad, you put your lettuce on the bottom, and then you put your tomatoes and your cucumbers and olives or whatever, and then you stir it up, and then all there is left is like lettuce that you can see, because everything went down to the bottom. So that was really fun, figuring out how to make sure every jar got the same proportion, not all lettuce and not all tomatoes and cucumbers, if you will. So that's been really, really, really fun. Teas, some things work in tea better than they do. Some medicinal herbs work better in tea than they do in tinctures, and vice versa. So it depends on really what you want to get out of that plant. And teas work really well especially with things where what you're really valuing there is the minerals, but that's certainly not confined to that. And again, just like a well-formulated tincture product or liquid extract product, what you want to do is you want to have herbs in a formula that complement one another, sort of to accomplish the same goal, but coming about it in different ways. So just do want to see, I'm trying to keep track of everybody and what we're doing. So I want to make sure if you're raising your hand, I see that. I don't see that. So you do know how you can do that, folks. If you go to down at the bottom of your screen, if you're not used to doing Zoom things, but most of you are, you can raise your hand like Dale did. And then I see that. And I asked him to unmute and speak. And then you can put things in the chat. And a lot of you have already done that. And I appreciate that. And then I probably won't chat back. I'll probably answer audibly, because that's like, trying to chew gum and walk at the same time. And maybe I'll get better at that, but I'm not that great at that now. And you can also enter something into the Q&A. The good thing about being on Zoom is that because you can see me, you will know that it's not, when you're on the radio, if you're not talking, nobody knows if you're there, and they'll just think, well, Becky muted herself again, or something happened and we're not getting, and then you'll start telling me you can't hear me. But if I'm here and I'm just kind of going, because I'm trying to do something else, you'll know that I'm here. So I think that's good. I also think it's really good because people like, I can see Raymond, you are there, and Raymond Elias from, and thank you, Connie, that you like seeing me. Raymond from Toronto, from Canada, who has been a guest many times, is here, and Sue McKinney, who's also been a guest with Alton Biosciences. She called me last week. She's got some really cool information. So if anybody wants to speak and be seen on this as well, please, and it'll be a great way to have people in as guests, to have them in, where before they'd be calling in from their cell phone and you could hear them and you could hear me. Same thing like with John Hike and John Michael Dumay and others, Joe Mabe I've had on, and Brad Hodkins from Indoor Organic Poughkeepsie Gardens of New York. And I don't want to leave anybody out. Come on. And he's going to be on with me very soon. Dan Glazer from Alpha Biocentrics with the energy patches. He's going to be on. In fact, we've been saying for the past few weeks, we should be doing a show this Saturday, and something else always is there. And I didn't want to actually test this with a guest the first week. You know why. So in any case, so I guess what I'll do is I'll start by just showing you, okay, I'm going to strain this tea. So you take you guys know how to work with loose leaf tea, but so this is this is one of your mesh strainers. I just ordered and are coming in on Monday, little tea bags that are organic paper, but you know what I mean. They're not bleached and they're not cloth, because I wouldn't really want cloth ones, because then I feel like I have to wash them first, because I don't know if they have chemicals in them or whatnot. So, but they're really cute. They look like little moons. And with a drawstring, you can do that. And probably what I'll do, those of you who order from me online, often I will send like a little jar of a cream or maybe a lip balm or maybe a tiny tea light. So you can like kind of enjoy and test out different products. And maybe what I'll start doing as we launch these teas is throw a tea bag of one kind or another. So that'll be really fun. And then you'll get to try some. We'll put little stickers on them that say which ones they are. That's a really fun part of this business. We deal with a lot of, I deal with a lot of serious illness in people many times. And I love that part of it too. I truly do. But this kind of work that we do here, there's so many different interesting things. Oh, and speaking of that, I was going to do this program on vitamin C. As you guys well know, wait, I want to go grab this book. A sampler package. That's a good idea, Karen. Yeah. Consider doing a sampler package. Why not? That'd be great. I've even got these really cool little plastic containers that fit like 4 tea lights, but they're clear plastic containers, like square. And I could package them right in there. That's a great idea. I love it. So, and who said they're not a coffee? Connie says she's never been a coffee or tea drinker. It's interesting. And I got to get my straw. Oh, here it is. I usually like to use this one's plastic because I usually use glass, but I didn't want it to clang. But I don't like to get my lip gloss on my glass, my cup. It just looks gross to me. It's actually really good. This is the heart tea. And you can see kind of here, like the different plants that are in there. This one looks like it went out, looks like something out of the woods, right? Well, I guess essentially it is, right? But this one has hawthorn berry, leaf, and flower. Now, it was one of my listeners and clients and customers, Chick, if Chick is out there listening, who said to me that she had read that the hawthorn, because I've always used hawthorn berry, and that's fairly typical in the world of herbal medicine, but she said that using the leaf and the flower as well, she read, is very important, or it helps. They are advantageous too. And so I'm going to go to my newsletter and click on this one article by Christopher Hobbs, who's really a wonderful herbalist. I've taken many classes with it through the years at different herbal conferences, and he is trying to think which company he's with. Christopher Hobbs, he's with, I really think he's with Herb Farm, but I could be wrong. Anyway, he has this piece on hawthorn for the heart. I thought this was really good. I wonder if it would be helpful for people if I shared my screen. Oh, I know, I'll ask. Does anybody have a preference if I share the page I'm reading from, or so that you can see it, or would you rather just see me reading? I mean, well, taking it now. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but I won't show it right now because I kind of skim anyway. It might just be distracting. You're used to me reading to you, but anyway, the best known herb for heart health and for heart in Western herbalism is hawthorn. This is a Christopher Hobbs article again, which is a small tree or shrub that grows throughout the northern hemisphere. Blah 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 blah. But it was get down to talks about where it comes from. Okay. In both the East and West, hawthorn has been used for millennia as both a food and a medicine. The current use of hawthorn for heart conditions dates back to the 17th century. So this goes way back. Green, who was an Irish doctor, is known to have used it extensively, though secretly, for heart ailments. Oh, that's a funny thing too, because it's so interesting that even now, right, people using things that really work. I would say if you look at what's happened with the last few years, and we all know what I'm talking about, those who were really had to do things, getting results and working with people in a way that was really helping them and treating them for this particular condition were ridiculed that they had to do these things in secret. They had to hide. They still do. And it's very interesting, the work, the stuff I've been reading, and I know I got distracted because I was going to get that book on vitamin C. I'll do that after. But same thing. All of these, something like vitamin C, high dose of vitamin C that was documented and used throughout the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, 70s, 80s, beyond. Dr. Klenner probably being the very foremost person, strongly antiviral, antimicrobial, but also very detoxifying, talking about the endotoxins that accompany viruses and bacteria and bacterial infections, talking about the exotoxins and talking about tons of toxins now, really, really that we are faced with all the time. My appreciation of vitamin C has just skyrocketed, and I can't wait to share that next week with you. But yeah, again, seeing people even back in that time, ridiculed by doctors. And if you read stuff today, you'll find a lot of conflicting things about is vitamin C really? And I'm going to try to give you the real skinny on that next week. At least my take on it. So anyway, Cretaceous is no panacea, but for the handling of chronic illness, it is much more suitable than digitalis, foxglove, and from which we get digoxin, and strophanthus, because it has no unpleasant side effects and no cumulative effects. Its success can be achieved. Very good. Thank you for Sue putting that up there. And it is also in the newsletter, but that's great. People can just click right on there. Today, hawthorn is official drug in the pharmacopoeias of Brazil, China, Czechoslovakia, France, Germany, Hungary, Russia, and Switzerland, and blah, blah, blah. And Christopher says, I have a special affection for this herb because it helped my father strengthen his heart and significantly increase the quality of his circulation. 26 years ago, he had a heart attack and has been taking hawthorn in extract form for over 15 years with excellent results. The extract of hawthorn can increase blood flow to the heart muscle itself, helping to counteract one of the most common causes of death in industrial countries, heart attack due to lack of blood flow to the heart. Oh, okay, yeah, now I'm getting back off on vitamin C. I won't, I promise. In pharmacological tests on both animals and humans, hawthorn has been shown to improve the contractility of the heart muscle, which can lead to a stronger pumping action of the heart, increase cardiac performance and output, lower the peripheral vascular resistance, reducing the workload of the heart, steady the heartbeat, antiarrhythmic effect. And of course, that's a problem that's plaguing people, it seems, a lot lately, at least. Of course, I would know that, right? Because people talk to me about their health problems, but I'm seeing a lot of that. It seems more than previously, although certainly arrhythmias have been around for a very long time, as well as increasing the heart's tolerance to oxygen deficiency, such as might happen during stress or excitement or in diseases where the arteries are partially blocked. In Europe, thousands of doctors prescribe hawthorn to prevent cardiovascular disease or to help alleviate symptoms of mild to moderate problems. It's considered so safe that it is sometimes prescribed concurrently with heart medications such as digitalis, right? Because digoxin has a problem. There's a problem there because there's a very small, what do I want to say? A little small window of safety between a therapeutic dose and a toxic dose. And so it's a tricky drug to work with, for doctors to work with, to prescribe properly so that it actually does something, but it doesn't harm. And it, as a little aside, digitalis comes from foxglove, which is a plant that if you were to just administer foxglove, a person getting too much would be throwing up and having diarrhea way before they got to a toxic point. And so you would, obviously, that would be a natural kind of protection, right? Because you wouldn't be taking too much because you couldn't, because you were sick. But in any case, he says in his own experience, it is the first herb. I thought this was really good hearing from him, because again, he's brilliant and very learned. It is the first herb besides garlic that should be added to one's daily dietary regimen when there is any suspicion of problems of cardiovascular disease. If one has a family member who has heart or vascular problems, or for people eating a diet that includes moderate to high levels of fat, especially from dairy products or red meat, I would vary with him. I would argue with him there. I would, and I would. But anyway, everybody can't know everything. Who are stressed or using stimulants such as coffee, hawthorn is an excellent protector. Okay, here I like this part where he says, initially hawthorn berries were the only part of the plant used in making extracts, but eventually the flowers and leaves were added, as they were shown to have significant concentrations of the active flavonoids as well. The extract can be taken long-term, is very safe, and will not interfere with any medications, according to the official European monograph on hawthorn. The daily dose is 2 to 4 dropperfuls of the tincture, or 1 to 2 tablets of the standardized extract morning and evening. Again, we're using tea in this product, and I definitely have the extract in several of my products. One is called Healthy Heart, One is called, that's what the mute button is for, because I had to clear my throat, right? But I remembered to unmute. Healthy Heart, it's in our Comfort and Joy, and I think also probably in our circulation formula, maybe some others, but wonderful, wonderful medicine is hawthorn. And not just the berry, so I learned. That was just going to the heart tea. I might as well stay on the heart tea. You can see in my heart tea, it says here that the point of this tea is strengthening to the heart and cardiovascular system, helping to normalize blood pressure, circulation, blood vessel wall integrity, while lowering systemic inflammation, which is damaging to the tissues of the cardiovascular system. The flavors are citrus, cinnamon, flowers, and berries, and it's very soothing. It tastes great. It's really pretty. It really doesn't need sweet. This is one of the challenges of doing medicinal tea, because you do a tincture and you guys are laughing out there, because if you've used any of my tinctures, they're not, you don't buy them for their flavor, right? I mean, people are like, this is horrible. Just nip it in the bud. It tastes so bad. Some taste better than others. I've never taken cat's claw by itself, but people say it tastes so bad. So anyway, you can't do that with tea. You can't take plants that are really good for you, but taste terrible. And like for that reason, I'll give a perfect example. Valerian is wonderful as an antispasmodic, as a soother to your nerves, and actually very good for helping with hemorrhage and excess bleeding. Like I could have used that in my cycle formula for women with heavy menstrual periods, but it tastes horrible. So that's the great thing about the plant world, the way God has put our world together and created all of these wonderful medicinal, all of these plants that, plants that give us food, that give us medicine, that give us so many absolutely wonderful, wonderful benefits in his brilliance. And so there's other things you can use instead, right? If you can't use valerian, but you don't care about that when you're making a tincture. You don't care about that, what it tastes like. Oh, just suck it up, just to take down it in a couple seconds, but you're not going to sip on it, right? For an hour or whatever. All right. So these are something, linden flower and leaf, right? I've never worked with linden before. And this has been one of the really fun things about this for me, because it's just new. Don't you just love learning new things? I do. And, Dale says, please ignore the fact that I'm Beck's husband, but I have sampled a number of teas and the taste is incredible. Yeah, we were really relieved as we were mixing them and tasting them, because what if, you did all this, you bought all the stuff and that sounds good. It sounds like it's going to be great. And you're like, no, that would not be a good experiment. All right. So this comes from this page, a family herb, gentle linden flower and leaf. It says, deliciously fragrant linden trees perfume the air in early summer, beckoning us to come and enjoy their beneficial properties for body, mind, and spirit. This stately tree, a time-tested favorite herbal remedy in Europe, is often found lining city streets and growing in parks. And it may surprise you to know what linden flower and leaf that linden flower and leaf, is a gentle friend that can help soothe away many of our daily woes, while the nectar-filled flowers provide food for happy bees and other pollinators. Linden flower tea has a delightful smell and flavor that sipped before bedtime can help to relax the body while soothing an irritable and tense mind, which enables the person to unwind and rest. I wonder if that's in my unwind thing. I have an unwind tea. Let me see if I put linden in there. No, well, I got other things in there, but that would be a good addition now, wouldn't it? And then it's anti-nerves, spasmodic. It improves, linden opens the emotional and spiritual heart, even as it improves cardiovascular circulation. Okay, so that would be a fantastic addition to my Comfort and Joy, because that's what Comfort and Joy is all about. My Comfort and Joy has plants in it. Hawthorn berry, should add the linden, I should add the flower and leaf, right? Motherwort, mimosa bark, rose petals, devil's club root bark. And then I think this linden would be awesome to add to it, as well as, again, the leaf and flower of hawthorn. Linden has a divinely inspired way of opening you to the bliss of your true multidimensional nature, the larger reality we are part of. And then the obliquely heart-shaped leaves give us a hint at linden's benefits for the cardiovascular system. So remember that, I've told you about that, how it's called the doctrine of signatures. So many times a plant will have something about it that it does for itself, or something in its appearance, like skull cap. It looks like a skull. It looks like a cap that a person would wear on their skull head. Oh gosh, I'm drawing a walnut, looks like a brain, right? Things like that. But the linden here is, this goes to that. It has heart-shaped leaves. So isn't that interesting? Like, if you were really observant and you really had time to go out into nature and, to go out into nature and look at things and think, what does that look like? What does it smell like? What does, or learn more things about it. Like, for instance, gravel root, which is in my kidney and stone formula because it breaks up stone. Well, it's called gravel root, right? Because it has to go through the way where it grows, it has to really bust through gravel to get its nutrients. And so it has to break up rock. So that's what we would call the doctrine of signatures, and an example of that. So the obliquely heart-shaped leaves give us a hint at linden's benefits for the cardiovascular system and its ability to gladden the heart, uplift us emotionally, and soothe heartache and grief. Yes, that needs to definitely be part of the Comfort and Joy, which that's what that whole formula is for. Yet linden benefits the physical heart as well, as do all those other plants in Comfort and Joy, which is evidenced in its long use for assisting with conditions such as atherosclerosis, angina, and heart palpitations, especially when there was nervous tension or stress involved. And the heat and restless energy of many colds, flus, and seasonal allergies can be eased by linden's cooling and calming properties. That's what I really like about herbal formulas, is we might be combining them for one thing, right? But at the same time, they're doing other things. So you're getting all of the health benefits of those plants, whether you're using them specifically for that purpose or not. So here, herbalist Matthew Wood, another one of my favorite herbalists, again, from herbal conferences, and just really value his work, explains that linden is specifically indicated for fevers that are not relieved by profuse sweat and fevers associated with chills and shivering, as well as painful fevers associated with heat, irritation, and spasm. Further, a soothing mucilage found in linden helps to relieve tension in tight tissues in the chest, throat, and sinuses. So other mucilaginous herbs that we think of are slippery elm bark, or mullein, or marshmallow root. Those are what we call mucilaginous herbs, demulcents. And so then it has that effect as well. That's really cool. And the Q&A, I have something. The holy basil, is there a limit to how often you can consume that daily? Any limits or interactions? Are any of your teas in a tea bag? Okay, so both of these are great questions. I'm going to answer live. Holy basil, let's go to that one first. Let me say this about the tea bags. I have not packaged any in tea bags for sale, but let's say if that's something you think that you would enjoy and you think would be something you'd like, hey, I'm all for it. I would love to do it. And it wouldn't be hard to do. I mean, people out there make tea bags all the time, right? So great idea. Let's go back to the holy basil question. I don't think of holy basil as having any kind of restrictions on how often you can use it, but let's look. Let's look at this article, Brain Boosting Herbs, the Badass Benefits of Holy Basil. Holy basil. Okay. It's called blah, 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 blah. Tulsi is another member of the adaptogen family, has long been used as an effective remedy for stress and anxiety. Animal studies with Tulsi show that it is also effective as remedying a variety of things. So it is anti-diabetic, anti-demic, anti-inflammatory, anti-mutagenic, anti-cancer, anti-ulcer, hypercholesterolemic, so for high cholesterol, hypoglycemic for diabetes, right? Immunostimulant, radioprotective, other properties. It's been noted to have as a good preventive herb to take, as it can help prevent or slow the onset of negative health issues. This is speaking about the brain tea now. We're speaking about Tulsi or holy basil, but what I'm saying is this one is not in the heart tea that we were just talking about. It's in the brain tea. A great deal of Tulsi's power comes from its ability to reduce the prevalence of corticosteroids in the blood. These compounds contribute to the creation of cortisol and other stress hormones in the body, so having high levels of them can be harmful. Lower levels of corticosteroids are associated with improved mental clarity and memory and can reduce the long-term risk of age-related mental disorders. Okay, so there we're hitting in on the brain. Conversely, having high levels of these hormones come with high stress lifestyles and can lead to health problems such as weight gain, inability to sleep, depression, fatigue, and other conditions. In animal studies, scientists have reported that Tulsi's effect, which is holy basil, is comparable to that of the antidepressant desipramine. For those with mild forms of anxiety and depression, Tulsi could help mitigate those effects. Let's see if we can find. In addition, it says one of the main reasons that Tulsi has these effects is because of two compounds found in the plant, eugenol and triterpenoic acids. Eugenol is present in many plants and its scent can elevate mood. Scientific studies have also known that eugenol in particular helps combat stress and mental clarity. I don't think it combats mental clarity, right? That could have been written a little bit differently, and promotes mental clarity. Okay, the triterpenoic acids found in Tulsi effectively improve the body's stress response, which can also support cognition and decision making. Okay, cognition. This is important. It's also a powerful antioxidant, and it has an effect on different types of toxicity, like heavy metal poisoning. A general effect on the immune system is found that it supports immune and detoxification response, in addition to providing protection against toxic compounds, which we really need today. And those things are having an effect on our brain health for sure. Gosh, they're finding now that the vast majority, it's looking like a large majority of the Parkinson's cases today are related to pesticides, pesticides like lawn pesticides. This is important because toxic compounds can impair your nerves, cognition, and physical function, and are widely found in cities and industrial areas. Most of us are exposed to toxins on a regular basis, and Tulsi can help support our natural detoxification processes. I don't see anything there about it being, and I have not, Karen, I've not read anything about that. It's something I could look into about there being a need to not take it. I have a feeling that it's fairly, it would be quite benign and safe to use, certainly on a regular basis. And I think it would be hard to get any kind of a concerning dose from what you would consume, for something like that. So anyway, okay, so we have that. Now, what else? The holy basil, that's really wonderful. What else is in the brain tea, the holy basil, the cinnamon? And this has really kind of been a fun thing, because if you don't like cinnamon, now I'm going to say this tea, the heart tea, it has cinnamon in it. It doesn't taste like you're drinking cinnamon tea. It's very well balanced. So if you're not big on cinnamon, but cinnamon is really important in teas because it tastes good and it is very medicinal for a lot of different things. But the brain benefits of cinnamon here. It says here, cinnamon is excellent for the brain, for brain health, and some rigorous studies have found a variety of neurological benefits that cinnamon offers. Here are 5 proven brain benefits of cinnamon. Cinnamon may delay or reverse cognitive impairment. A study in rats found that cinnamon improved cognition and reduced oxidation in the brain. These poor rats. Oh my goodness, I'm reading this book on vitamin C, and it's like, I could never do that kind of thing. Lab animal research. I know it's necessary. I know it's important, but oh my goodness. Cinnamon may be beneficial. Speaking of Parkinson's, for Parkinson's patients, a mouse study found that cinnamon protected dopamine production systems and improved motor function in Parkinson's disease. Cinnamon may curb food cravings. By targeting a brain chemical involved in glucose and cholesterol, eating cinnamon may decrease food intake and help you lose weight. And we know that cinnamon is a classic anti-diabetic herb, and it's very great for one of its big contributions is chromium, being a good source of chromium, which really helps with the insulin, blood sugar, all of that balance in the pancreas. Cinnamon scent can boost memory in a task. A small study, human study, suggests that merely smelling cinnamon can improve performance several types of memory tasks. That's really cool because cinnamon smells good. So you could even do like cinnamon essential oil. I think we use cassia for that, is the essential oil. And then you could use, there might be just a plain cinnamon essential oil too, for all I know. But you could also take some cinnamon sticks and just kind of simmer them. You could, shave up some cinnamon sticks and simmer them on the stove, or maybe even under a, the little things that you put the candle in. And then for essential oils, you put some water. You could probably just even do that with some, we have actually cinnamon chips in the, this is the heart tea. See if I can find a cinnamon chip. Yeah, we use these little cinnamon chips. They're about that big. And so they're great. They, yeah. That's kind of like one of the tricky things I was talking about when you mix the teas is you don't want all the cinnamon chips like at the bottom. It's the same thing like with the vanilla bean. That was the real one that was tricky because I used vanilla bean in one, and to that I added the vanilla bean once it was jarred, and then you snip off so many pieces of vanilla bean, and then I shook it so that the vanilla bean is throughout, because that's one, if it's going to be in that tea, you want to make sure each jar got its fair share, because you don't use a lot of it. And so anyway, it's been fun. This tea thing has been fun. For some great cinnamon recipes and more information on cinnamon, check out brain healthy food sections of our website, or review all our brain healthy recipes. That would be kind of interesting to see. I would think that probably cinnamon coffee cake is not the brain health way to go. Hey, not that you're not going to want to enjoy it once in a while. In fact, not that it's cinnamon, although it does have some cinnamon in it. Dale picked up some really great organic peaches yesterday, and I'll be making a cobbler for tonight. We're not like dessert every night kind of people, but this is the time of year for peaches. Peach cobbler is wonderful. So I'll be doing that. I'm also doing another, since you know I love to talk about food. I didn't put any recipes in my newsletter today, but he found, I had seen too and dismissed it, but then Dale actually opened it and read it. So it's a sheet pan, shrimp, corn. So we have fresh local corn. Oh gosh, it's on a platter. Now I can't think. I'm going to actually go to see, I can do this now that you're there, because I can do this and you know that I'm still here. It's called shrimp corn. Come on. Shrimp, corn. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, I'm going to this is garlic, butter, shrimp, and corn sheet pan dinner. So this is what we're doing before we have the cobbler tonight. So you have 4 ears of corn, a bulb of fennel. How yummy is that? Olive oil, salt, red pepper flakes, butter, garlic, lemon, then large peeled and deveined shrimp, tails removed, cherry tomatoes, feta, and a half cup of lightly packed fresh basil leaves, which we will get right out of the garden. And doesn't it sound like fantastic? So anyway, you can tell it's like lunchtime. I'm hungry. Okay. So great. We talked about cinnamon. Now, this is really fun. I think we've had more interaction than ever with this program because of this format. The thing I do miss is I miss my radio people, like people who just never would do this or would never do Blog Talk Radio, but found me because they were AM radio junkies and they just happened to be listening to WKBK when I came on and liked the program. So that I regret, but I really do like doing it this way. And it's great, the interaction we're getting here. I appreciate that. All right, now, what else? Rosemary. Rosemary is really good for the brain. So here, the Journal of Plant Medicines, rosemary. And again, you can click on all of these things in my newsletter when you have time and read them yourself. And of course, there's always links for more stuff you can learn if you want to. The rosemary plant not only smells nice and looks nice when growing in our garden, it also appears it increases our brain power. Studies over the past few years have shown that rosemary officinalis, the common herb rosemary and its essential oil, can boost memory and help prevent Alzheimer's disease. The new study from Miami Children's Hospital Research Institute studied extracts of rosemary and bacopa. Okay, so that's Bacopa monnieri, which is another great brain herb. I have to think more about that one. Anyway. Okay, where is that? Bacopa. Separately and together using human brain and nerve cells. They found that each extract inhibited the phosphorylation of tau tangles. The tau tangles have been linked with Alzheimer's progression. That's that sticky stuff, right? But the combination of the two produced an even greater inhibitory effect, so using them together. This took place by halting the production of amyloid proteins. Amyloid protein production precedes the tau tangle formations. It says here, these results suggest that the extract of Bacopa monnieri plus rosemary antioxidant is more neuroprotective than Bacopa monnieri or rosemary antioxidant extract alone. Well, I don't have that Bacopa it's in my brain blast formula, my, oh gosh, that's my tincture one, the super brain blast, but it's not in this one, although I have other ones that really complement, but that's a great idea to bump this one up. Okay, make a note of that. I will not write it with my lip pencil. Bacopa to brain formula. In the future. It's a great idea. Okay, and other studies show too. Anyway, you can see through there. So rosemary, it's very good. Sage is also rosemary, sage. Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. But sage is also very great for the brain. And then hibiscus. I wanted to go for that. Back to the heart. We talked about hawthorn, and we talked about the gentle linden flower and leaf. That was really cool to learn about. That one I've got to add to my comfort and joy. I've got to make a tincture of that. and add that to that formula. Very cool. And then hibiscus. Now, I ordered and formulated with the right genus and the right species of hibiscus, but I put a different one on the label. So now I have to change the labels, but that's okay. This is what happens. This is how you progress. But the main thing was it's much better to get it wrong on the label than to get it wrong in the formula. So, because the one that really works for the heart is the hibiscus, oh gosh, what's it called? Soderifa. Yeah. Or not, and it's otherwise known as Roselle. But hibiscus tea, a lot of people, have been promoting that for use in for blood pressure, right? People say, yeah. So here we go. Lowers blood pressure. And there are a few foods that lower blood pressure to take notice of, particularly if you are at risk for hypertension. Hibiscus tea makes that list with glowing reviews. Several studies have found it to lower blood pressure significantly, even in patients with certain health conditions that increase the risk of high blood pressure. So they're probably saying, people who are diabetic a lot of times, or other comorbidities, they call them. A 2013 review by the University of Arizona discovered that hibiscus tea is used in 10 or more countries as normal treatment for hypertension, without any reported adverse events or side effects, except in extremely high doses. A study led these researchers to state that extracts of hibiscus are promising as a treatment of hypertension. They did point out, however, that high-quality studies, known in a significant community as the gold standard, are needed to see the specific interactions of hibiscus tea on high blood pressure. And I would just say, well, of course, I guess for that purpose, but for you and me to gain the benefit, that certainly doesn't need to be done. Especially when something like this has been done traditionally for centuries. It does seem to be the case that hibiscus can lower blood pressure in pre-hypertensive and mildly hypertensive animal and human models. Of significant note is the fact that these results extend to diabetic patients, just what I just said. After about 4 weeks, researchers conducting multiple trials have found that blood pressure is positively impacted by daily drinking hibiscus tea. One study specifically mentions 3 glasses of tea each day as the chosen dosage. It's always nice to have kind of an idea, like, how much of this do I have to drink to get any benefit? A study in Nigeria discovered hibiscus tea to be more effective than hydrochlorothiazide, a common blood pressure lowering medication. Any of you who've been in the world of that medication, HCTZ, they prescribe it all the time, and so it can have some really unpleasant side effects. The most significant finding was that hibiscus tea, unlike its counterpart, hydrochlorothiazide, did not cause electrolyte imbalance, right? So it's potassium sparing. It's one of the things with the high blood pressure medications is many times you deplete yourself of potassium. So I make actually an herbal diuretic formula. It's called herbal diuresis, which is plants that are diuretic. That's what hydrochlorothiazide is, right? So the idea with using that for high blood pressure is to get rid of excess fluid that's causing too much pressure. And so, but hydrochlorothiazide is depleting of electrolytes. And so when you do something in a formula that's medicinal, herbal medicinal, you always make sure you have plants that are covering for that, and making sure that those electrolytes stay steady and are included in those plants that are in a formula like that. Okay. Also supports healthy cholesterol and triglycerides. So again, me, cholesterol is the Lord and giver of life. I always say that, but it's more the balance of the lipids, and especially the things we look at that kind of spark my concern are high triglycerides. And so hibiscus has an effect on that. And we always are enthusiastic about anything that affects our lipids in a balancing way, in a natural way, because that's taking yours and balancing it, or mine, and balancing those lipids, not just artificially taking and blasting down. It was very interesting, speaking about cholesterol. I have a client who this week sent me her lab work, her recent lab work, and it looked great. I mean, her everything looked fantastic. And she's a breast cancer survivor of something like 10 years. And which she, by the way, I wasn't working with her. I didn't know her then, but she did not go the natural, I mean, the typical medicine route. And she was got herself free of breast cancer using natural means. And I think that's really wonderful. But anyway, all her blood work looked great. And even her cholesterol panel, her lipid panel, right? Her total cholesterol was 189, which to me could be considered too low. But no, that was good. Her LDL was in the, double digits. Her HDL was high. Her triglycerides were excellent. But this doctor, this is a practice in Vermont, and they actually ordered the particle size of cholesterol. So small particle size cholesterol is the only cholesterol that's damaging to your health, because it's small and gnarly and inflammatory. And lo and behold, her small particle LDL was high. And the only other thing that was high was her C-reactive protein, which is an inflammation marker for cardiovascular problems. So those two are certainly, in my opinion, hand in hand together. But most people, when they get this stuff done, nobody looks at that stuff. You have to ask for this. If you are getting tested for your lipid panel, make sure you ask. And I can't tell you, just, write down like small particle LDL. Say you want your particle numbers done, because that is so much more telling. And she had that done. Now she's thinking, I'm going to be going to see the doctor. The doctor's going to want to put me on a statin drug. Well, see, ridiculous, right? Because her lipid panel, she doesn't have high cholesterol. And it's documented in science, and I gave her the paper, so she's well armed, that statins do nothing about decreasing the number, the level of small particle LDL. And you know how you make small particle LDL buoyant and fluffy and harmless? Consuming saturated fat. That's right. Everything the heart doctors tell you not to do. Butter, animal lard. This is what brings that number down. And I've seen it happen in dietary changes. I had a woman who was a vegetarian and had extremely high small particle LDL. You would think a vegetarian has high, has a problem with cholesterol, don't vegetables just take care of that? You don't eat animal stuff. And convinced her to change her diet. And she found it very remarkable that she was eating bacon and losing weight. And the following year, her very, very high small particle LDL numbers were normal. So anyway, that's exciting. Just had to put that in there. Because again, cholesterol is such a misunderstood topic, and you can't just look at the numbers. If this doctor had not done the particle size investigation, right, had not ordered the labs for that, everything except the C-reactive protein would have looked fine, and then it would be, wow, that's really weird. Why is your CRP up? So. Anyway, the health detective, I call myself a health detective, not the health detective, but one of them. Now I have some other teas all set. These were my original 9. Actually, I had 10, but I went to I did a Waterworks tea to combine just like a regular urinary tract healthful daily tea as well. It has some see, instead of having one tea for you have a urinary tract infection, or one for preventing urinary tract infection, or just keeping the Waterworks system toned. So I combine them. So I have 9 original. I just thought that was a little redundant. But the Waterworks tea, for instance, if you go here, My search bar, I could not update this morning. It was something on this search bar that I have on my website is, I'll share my screen for a second. So my search bar is, that's an app. It's a great app. It's called Do Finder. And it's really wonderful because it makes it really easy for you to shop, because if you go in there and if you misspell glutathione, it's going to come right up, unlike the search bar that comes with the standard website e-commerce store. But I couldn't update it this morning because they were having technical difficulties on their end, the story of my life, but yours too. I mean, I'm not alone in that. It's not like I'm being persecuted. It's just the way it is. But if you type any of these teas in at this point, it won't. But if you just click on the links for today, they will. So the Waterworks tea is here, a nutritive herbs to tone and soothe the urinary tract, mildly diuretic, and while helping prevent or treat infections. Flavors are earthy, warm, sweet, and berry. Oh yeah, this is really cool because it has dried cranberries in it. And so that gives it a nice flavor, among other things. But I think I have to end. I mean, I don't really absolutely have to, but I'm going to let you go. I asked for an hour of your time today. I really appreciate your hanging out with me here. And this worked out pretty well. Once I realized I had to unmute myself. And I hope you'll come back next week. This will be recorded. It is being recorded. And I will, once I get notification that it's ready, I will download it. And then I will add it to my website. And each week when I do my newsletter, I'll make sure you have a way to easily get there if you want to go back and see this. Come back next week. Have a wonderful Saturday, a wonderful Sunday, a wonderful week. And I just really value you all. I hope you know that. And thank you so much. Take care.